Hello children, welcome back to my channel Online Physics Class by Niharika. So children, as you know that I have started the foundation course for class 9 for the subject science. Okay, and the very first subject which I have started is your chemistry. And in chemistry, I have started the chapter 1, that is matter in our surroundings. Okay. So in this chapter, I gave you in the last lecture, I gave you the introduction about the matter, that what is matter and classification of matter according to the ancient philosopher and modern scientist. Okay. So if I recall you what is matter, so matter is a substance which has mass and which occupies space. There are two characteristics of matter. Matter has a mass and matter occupies a space. It means it has a volume. If I gave you a real type examples in your life, so everything around you is a matter. Book, table, chair, sky, air, gas, liquid, all are these things are matter because they are made up of a tiny particles. If they are made up of a tiny particles, it means they have a mass, and if they have a mass, they will occupy the space. So I hope the concept of matter is clear to you. Now, in this today's lecture, we are going to, as in the last lecture, I have explained you about the evidence of particles in a matter. I have given you the example of the dissolving a solid in a liquid potassium permanganate crystal in a water. Now in this lecture, I'll give you the evidence of particles in a matter in mixing of two gases. Okay, it means is in gases also there is a particle nature of matter or not? This we are going to study through the following experiment. Okay, बेटा हमने particle nature तो पढ़ा ही है ना matter का कि matter has a particle nature. If you go in my last lecture, there I have explained you that if we take solid crystal of potassium permanganate and mix it with water, what will happen? Slowly the color of potassium permanganate will cover the entire liquid. It means there is the particle nature in potassium permanganate crystal also and in water molecules also. Now in second lecture, we are going to study that whether in gases the particles are there or not, because matter is made up of particles. Okay, so here now the second experiment is mixing of two gases. So here there is one experiment where we have taken two cylindrical. Okay, two cylinders we have taken. In one cylinder, we have taken bromine vapors, which is red brown in color. And in second cylinder, it is empty. Empty means it must be containing a air. So on first cylinder, with the cylinder which contains bromine vapor, we have put the second cylinder over it. Okay, उसके ऊपर हमने second cylinder put कर दिया. It means it contains air and it contains bromine vapor. I hope it is clear to you. Again, I am repeating you that I have taken two cylinders. The first cylinder contains bromine vapor. And what is the color of bromine vapor? Red brown in color. You should remember this thing. If you are preparing for the Olympiads, if you are preparing for your examinations, so you should know that bromine vapor color is red brown in color. Okay, so first cylinder contains bromine vapor which is red brown in color, and second cylinder is empty. It means empty doesn't mean it does not contain anything. Empty means it contains air. Okay, so we have upsided this empty cylinder or the cylinder which contains air over the mouth of the second, or you can say first cylinder, that is the cylinder which contains bromine vapor. Now what will happen? One more thing, make a note that bromine vapors are heavier than air, which is the mixture of gases. Bromine vapors are heavier than air. Okay, now after some time we will see that both the cylinders will contain the gases in red brown in color. मतलब first cylinder as well as second cylinder both will contain the red brown color gas. It means bromine vapors must have moved upwards and air must have moved downwards. Okay, and they both have mixed together so that both the cylinders, the color become same, red brown in color. It means that their particles are moving in nature, and moving in nature, that is why they mixed uniformly. And when the particles moves them, when the particles of a substance, they move themselves and mixed uniformly, this process is known as diffusion. This I have already explained you in the last lecture. I hope you have seen my last video. Okay, so this shows that the particles of the matter are in continuous motion. तभी तो ये क्या हुआ बेटा, जो एयर के पार्टिकल्स थे they move downwards, और ब्रोमीन के जो पार्टिकल्स थे they move upward, and they mix together, and the whole color in first cylinder as well as in second cylinder, it becomes brown, that is your red brown in color. Okay, but one question must be coming in your mind, that ma'am, you have told us that bromine vapors are heavier in nature as compared to air. So how can it move upwards? So because how can it move upwards, or how can it go against the gravity? So bromine vapors, why they are moving upwards? The reason is that because bromine vapors in the particles, or you can say atoms or molecules in bromine vapors have high kinetic energy. They have a high kinetic energy. That is why they can move upwards against the gravity. I hope you have understood this thing, that the particles, or you can say the atoms, or you can say the molecules of bromine vapors are in have high kinetic energy. That is the reason they can move upward again, okay, against the force of gravity. And air moves downward, both mixes with each other uniformly, which process is known as diffusion. So this experiment explains us that the matter has the particle nature, as well as the particles of the matter, they move continuously. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, now the second important experiment is your Brownian motion. Brownian motion. Okay, so second experiment is movement of pollen grains in water. Now this is also Brownian motion, is also very important, children, because it can be asked in your exam, what is Brownian motion? Okay, so this is very famous example, okay, given by Robert Brown. I hope it is given by Robert Brown only. Yes, it is given by Robert Brown. Okay. So movement of pollen grains in water. So what are pollen? Agar if I ask you what are pollen? Pollen is the powdery substance. Okay. Powdery substance discharged by the male part of the flower. Okay. Male part of the flower. Okay. And male part of the flower is called stamen. Okay. So and that stamen contains anthers, and anther contains the particles which are pollen grains. I hope it is clear. You must have studied in the previous class, children, that what are pollen grains. Okay, so movement of pollen grains in water. So pollen grains are very light in weight. If pollen grains, what happened, it was observed by the scientist Robert Brown, that when these pollen grains are put into the water, they have a zigzag movement. You can see this pollen grain is moving. It started moving from here, it goes here, it goes here, then it comes here, then again it goes there. It has a zigzag movement when these pollen grains falls on the surface of the water. So this, why this zigzag movement is taking place? Can you give me the answer? When these pollen grains are dropped on the surface of the water, they move in the zigzag direction on the surface of water. So why this thing is happening? Can you give me the answer? The reason is that the speed of the water molecule is very, very fast. Okay, speed of the water molecule is very, very fast. In that way, we can say that they hit the pollen grains in the different directions. Okay, this shows that the particles of water are in, also again we can say that particles of water are in motion, and they hit the pollen grains such that they are these pollen grain is moving in the zigzag direction, and this zigzag movement of small particles suspended in liquid and gases is called Brownian motion. Okay, what is Brownian motion? I hope it is clear to you. When you suspend, when the pollen grains are suspended on the surface of the water, what happened? They move in the zigzag direction. Zigzag matlab in a haphazard direction, left, right, here, there, like that. So this zigzag movement of the small particle suspended in liquid and gases is called Brownian motion. And why they are moving zigzag? The reason is because the water molecules are in continuous motion with high kinetic energy. Okay, so they hit the pollen grains such that the pollen grains forms their path in the zigzag direction. I hope it is clear to you. So these are the experiments. The very first experiment I gave you, mixing of solid in a liquid. Okay, the next is mixing of two gases. The third is mixing of pollen grains in water, which shows the Brownian motion. I hope it is clear to you. Now, characteristics of particles of matter. Till now, what are the characteristics you have got from the last lecture till now today's lecture? You have got the following characteristics. Now, number one is the particles of matter are very, very small. Okay, the particles of matter are very, very small. The very famous experiment is, if you take, children, if I give you the example of the particles of matter are very, very small. Suppose you took a beaker, okay, and here you took 100 ml of water, 100 ml of water, and there you put few crystal of 50 gram, you can say, crystal of potassium permanganate. So after some time, I hope you have seen my last video that potassium permanganate crystal are in purple in color. So after some time it will dissolve in this liquid and the whole solution will become purple in color. Okay. Now you take another beaker. Here you take 90 ml of water. Okay. 90 ml of water. Now you take 10 ml of liquid from the first beaker and pour the 10 ml of liquid colored liquid from first beaker into second 90 ml of water. So what will happen now? This plain water will also become purple when you are going to pour 10 ml of purple colored water from the first beaker. Now you take third beaker. Here also you take 90 ml of water, plain water. Now from the This is third beaker. Now from the second beaker again you take 10 ml of 10 ml of purple color water and pour it in this third beaker. Now here again you will get the purple color liquid. But what is the difference? What will be the difference between these three beakers? The first beaker will have a high intensity purple color. High intensity purple color. The second beaker will be little bit lighter from the second beaker color will be, the color of the liquid will be little bit lighter from the first beaker, and the third beaker color will be the least purple in color. So this shows that it means if you are taking out the amount of liquid and you are pouring in different containers, they are also becoming in the same color but the intensity is varying. It shows that the particles are very, very small in nature. That is why now if you are diluting the liquid in different containers, what is happening? Here you have taken the particles which have got dissolved in the first liquid. Okay, again you have poured in the second liquid. It also become purple in color, but the intensity become little bit less purple. Third beaker again you took, here also the intensity become least purple. इसका मतलब few particles are coming. If you take again n numbers of beaker, you will find the liquid of the beaker will become purple in color, but the intensity of the purple color will decrease. So it means that particles are very, very small in nature. The particles of matter are very, very small in nature. I hope it is clear to you, children. If you have any doubt, please comment me in the comment section. Okay. Now particles, second point is, first point is clear that particles of matter are very very small. Second point is the particles have spaces between them. Particles have spaces between them. Now how can you get this example? Particles have spaces between them. Suppose you took a beaker, and in beaker you took water, and then you pour sugar, crystal of sugar in the beaker, and then you start stirring with the glass rod. Okay, and suppose you took 90 ml of liquid. Okay, just note the volume, 90 ml of liquid. Okay, after some time sugar will disappear. Okay, and again you measure the volume of the liquid after dissolving this sugar in this liquid. You will find again the volume of the liquid after dissolving the sugar is also 90 ml only. There is no change in volume of the liquid even after dissolving the crystal of sugar. It means where the sugar has gone, where it has disappeared. This means that there must be spaces between the water molecules where the crystals, or you can say where the particles of the sugar get accommodated. Okay, iska matlab liquid, again I'll tell you here. This means that between the molecules of water there must be a space where the particles of sugar get, you can see the spaces where the particles of sugar get accommodated in between them. That is why there was the no change in volume of the liquid even after dissolving the sugar crystal. तो sugar गया कहाँ? Actually, the particles of the sugar get accommodated between the spaces of the water molecule. That is why it is given the second characteristics of matter is that they have spaces between them. Particles of matter have spaces between them. Then what was the first point? Particles of matter are very very small. बहुत छोटे होते हैं, तभी तो देखो आप फर्स्ट कंटेनर में आपने पोटेशियम परमैंगनेट क्रिस्टल को डिसॉल्व किया, सेकेंड कंटेनर में किया वो भी पर्पल बन गया, थर्ड कंटेनर में किया वो भी पर्पल कर गया. ओनली द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द कलर चेंजेस. तो इसका मतलब पार्टिकल्स बहुत छोटे हैं, बहुत छोटे. अगर आप 100 बीकर्स लोगे तो वहां तक उसका कलर जाएगा, बट द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द कलर विल वैरी. The second is the particles of matter have spaces between them. The very best example is dissolving sugar in the sugar crystal in a water solution. The third is particles of matter are constantly moving. अब इसका एग्जाम्पल क्या दे सकते हैं? सपोज यू टुक अ इंसेंस स्टिक्स. व्हाट इज इंसेंस स्टिक्स? अगरबत्ती. इफ यू light the incense sticks at one corner of your room, after some time you can feel or you can smell, you will get the smell of that pleasant smell of the incense sticks throughout the room. So what is the reason? It means that the gases which is, or you can say the vapors which are given by the incense sticks, it is moving throughout the air. Okay, and that with the help of the air it reaches to our nostrils. So it means the particles of the air, or you can say the particles of the gases are constantly moving. I hope it is clear to you. And this process is known as diffusion also. Okay, when the one gases or when one gases mixes with another gases in uniform manner. Okay, उसके बाद the next is particles of matter attract each other. Now there are two forces of attraction between particles of matter. Now if I talk about this duster, can you move your hand across this duster? Can you move your hand across this duster? If I will try to move my hand across this duster, I will get hurt in my hand. Okay, so why I am not able to move my hand across this duster? Reason, the particles of this dusters have been attracted very strongly, and this force of attraction between the same particles, same type of particle is known as cohesion force. Okay, this is known as cohesion force or cohesive force. Fine. If I talk about this marker, can I move my hand across this marker? No. Again, I can say that the particles of this marker are strongly attracted with each other. And since it is the marker with the same type of particles, so what is the force of attraction with the same type of particles called? Force of cohesion. Okay. And next is your force of adhesion. Yeah, adhesive force. Let me tell you, there are two types of forces. Cohesive force and adhesive force. Cohesive force and adhesive force. Cohesive force is the force between same type of particles. And adhesive force is the force between different types of particles. Okay, like cohesive force is all your solid, stone. Okay, cohesive force. If you take a liquid maybe if you take a milk, so all the milk, what happened? How can you see the formation of milk? That milk has also a cohesive force. Okay, duster, chalk. Okay, now adhesive force is the force between different types of particles. Like if I write with the chalk on the board, so the board substance and the chalk particle, they get attracted. So particles of board are different and particles of chalk are different, so they attract with each other. So that is known as adhesive force, yeah, force between different particles. So I hope it is clear to you. There are two types of forces: cohesive force, force between same type of particles; adhesive force, force between different types of particles. Okay, and what are the characteristics of matter? The particles of matter are very small. Particles of matter have space between them. Particles of matter move constantly. Particles of matter attract each other. Attraction की वजह से they have a cohesion force and adhesion force. Clear? Okay. Now, two more things I want to tell you, that particles of matter, they move constantly, and this motion of the particle can increase with the increase in temperature. You should note this thing. Okay. कि particles of the matter, they constantly move. कितने सारे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल्स दिए अभी तक, ठीक है. एंड देयर मोशन कैन इंक्रीज, और यू कैन से देयर काइनेटिक एनर्जी कैन इंक्रीज with the increase in temperature. So I hope it is clear till here. Brownian motion, Brownian effect, okay, mixing of two gases, characteristics of matter, cohesive force, adhesive force. I hope these points are clear to you. If you have any doubt, please comment me in the comment section. Thank you.